Welcome back, everyone, to the Paige Kornblue Show. I'm going to take you right to the court with FAU men's basketball head coach Dusty May. Dusty May led Florida Atlantic to what is, no question, its greatest season in school history, and that was in our 2022-2023 campaign, and it included a Final Four appearance, play in Houston, and a program best 35-4 record. CBS Sports National Coach of the Year, NABC All-District 17 Coach of the Year, Conference USA Coach of the Year, Palm Beach County Coach of the Year, the Owls' all-time leader in coaching wins, all winning seasons under his watch. Our very long list of program records at FAU thus far. Before his position at the helm at FAU, Coach May spent 7 seasons on Mike White's coaching staffs, first at Louisiana Tech University, then the University of Florida. May was a student manager for the Indiana University men's basketball team. He was on staff at USC, Eastern Michigan, Murray State, and UAB. Coach, welcome.
It's great to be on, Paige.
I was trying to condense your bio, and it's not an easy task. And congratulations. I know this is just part of your story, and we love having you here. And thank you for what you've brought to FAU, to South Florida, and to the basketball arena. There's so many great stories, and what a ride so far, huh?
Yeah, it happened quickly where we felt like we were building in the right direction, and then there was that combustion where it just happened. But South Florida, this local community, they've embraced us. They've embraced our team, our program, and they've done a lot for us. So we've gained out of this relationship, and it's been a blast. The people here are they're so excited to see. They appreciate the work our guys put in and the way they carry themselves. So it's been really rewarding to see players be as well-rounded as our guys are, where they're obviously really good basketball players, but they're phenomenal people as well, and they represent this community, this university, and their families in the best way possible.
We're going to talk about the season ahead. We're going to talk about the road to the Final Four last year. I know you've been recapping it a lot over the past few months, and it's so exciting to do so. But I do want to start with this week, when we're recording this show, some will listen to it now, some a little bit later, but just lost legendary basketball coach Bob Knight, and he had quite an impact on you and your career. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, obviously, whenever it's a tough day, anytime someone passes who's impacted so many people, but with Coach Knight, there's certainly a celebration of life. And it's a bond that anyone that was a part of his programs, they all share something that can't be taken away, where they went through something very difficult that prepared us for life, prepared us really for anything. And we're all grateful for what we were able just to be a small part of. And so as you reflect and hear all the stories, you laugh, you smile. And as a coach, as a father, that's a legacy you want to leave when people are grateful that they were able to spend time with you, learn from you, and their lives are better because of your presence. So he was certainly all those things, but it's been really cool to connect with so many people over that bond, because we all had such a small role in his success, but just grateful to be a part of it.
A Hall of Fame career he had, so many national titles. What is it that you find that you take what you've learned from him and apply it on the court, in the locker room, with your guys now?
I thought about that a lot last night, and probably the thing that I appreciate most was his conviction of the way he thought the game should be played and how it should look. For example, the ultimate sacrifice of playing for the team, playing for the front of the jersey, more than the name on the back. And obviously it's a different generation now where there is value for playing on the name on the back and who you represent. But anytime in competitive sports you can get a group to give themselves up for the team, can really appreciate each other's strengths, weaknesses, and then also are self-aware enough to stay in their own strengths. You have a unique blend, and he was able to do that year after year, and it seems so simple, but very few of us are able to do it consistently, and he was able to do it for 30 years.
You've had quite a past year. How do you recap, if you're going to just talk about this past year, the Final Four run? Now looking back, how do you look at it?
just as an experience and bonding situation that you could ever have as a group. I mean, our guys, the staff, the players have put so much time into this game, trying to perfect our craft, playing it, talking about it, studying it, and for all of it to come to that point where you're doing something that's literally it can transcend generations. And I heard Charles Barkley say it on CBS that this might be the greatest story in the history of our sport, meaning college basketball. And I paused for a second and thought about it and thought, if we're in the top 1,000 stories in the history of our sport, then I'm very grateful to be a part of it. It was so awesome to see, your players come from all over the world, and their parents and their families are away from their kids and they're watching them on TV. And then you have this month or 5-week journey where everyone's together and the world almost stops and we're all just like a traveling band. So you're seeing the same people over and over and you're sharing these experiences. It was so many special moments that I'll cherish forever. But more than anything else, it's awesome just to stand back and watch and see your players grow through all that, and our guys did in a positive way.
So many people can talk about the records and the numbers. Tell me about the emotions along that ride.
We're actually talking about a practice this week because obviously everything's different now. Expectations, I think even internally we expect ourselves to be in April form in October and now November, but that's just not how it works. We have another mountain to climb. There's going to be a whole new set of issues and challenges. And so we have to block out last year, learn from what we did well, but we've just got to stay the course and try to, I guess, reinvent ourselves now. But last year's definitely changed everything, and we got to make sure that it doesn't change who we are as people, and to the core that the same day-to-day approach is what ultimately is going to get us there again. But if it's not the end of the world either. We're all about growing and improving. So I know that's a layered answer, but things are a lot different now than they were a year ago.
When Coach Herman was on the show, FAU's head football coach, he was talking about being in Madison Square Garden and having the opportunity to sit in the row right behind you guys, right behind the bench. And he said he noticed when you had the guys in the huddle, you started a play and then you scratched it and you said, no, let's do that next week or, in the next game. However many days later it was, he said, you just knew you were going to win that game and move forward. And he said that he just loved that about you as a coach. Hearing that story and talk about your coaching philosophy, you probably were just in the moment, right? If you were to, now hearing that with that team behind you and what you had in front of you on that court that day.
I don't recall that particular moment, but I think every game, every situation calls for something different. And that's part of our job as coaches is to read the room, try to anticipate and gauge how our players are feeling and what we can do to help in that situation. And probably in that moment, it was something just to give us more confidence because I've been open about this. Our sport is different. It's odd. There's 360 Division I teams, and there's 68 that make the NCAA tournament. So there's such a small portion that even make it to the NCAA. And for non-Power 5 schools, typically just getting there is almost like, okay, that's our championship. That's our national championship. And then you win a game, and okay, you're still alive for another day or two. And then you go to the Sweet 16, and now you have a full week of the sports world talking about 16 teams. So it's a big deal to make the tournament, and then it's a big deal to make the Sweet 16. Then let's say you win a game, and you're in the Elite Eight. And okay, Elite Eight, no one really talks about Elite Eight teams and players and coaches. And then you win one more game, and the Final Four is the pinnacle in our profession. They don't rarely talk about national championship teams. They talk about Final Four teams and Final Four programs. So it's odd, the culture in our sport, but we wanted it to be all along that each win, we weren't satisfied that our season, we're not just content being a team that won a game in the tournament or to make the Sweet 16. This team can go as far as anyone. And so in that moment, that was probably something just to show belief and expectations that we're not hoping to win today. We're going to win. We're going to be playing again next week. Let's make sure we just keep focusing on this possession and this frame.
Was there a memorable moment for you that in 10, 20 years, you're going to look back and say, and that's going to be one of the stories that you share with your grandchildren one day, or, when you look back on this specific amazing season?
I've said it that the highlight of my season personally was when we clinched conference championship at home in front of our fans, with our families there, our wives and kids. Everyone's sharing this moment. And it was in the spot that it all started, in the gym where we'd all spent hundreds and thousands of hours to hopefully be in position to win a championship. And for us to be able to do that, cut down the nets, have the confetti on our home court was very, very memorable, and it still gives me goosebumps to this day. And then once we got into the NCAA tournament, it's your head's down and you're working, and there's no time to really reflect or even understand what's going on outside of your cave or wherever you're working. There's no outside noise if you're focused on what you need to be doing. But walking onto the court for practice at the Final Four at the 75,000 seat stadium in Houston, that's another one that it's a wow moment. But then once the clock starts and you're into the work, then it's just 94 feet doing what you do every single day. Obviously, the situation's different, but those are the moments, that sharing that with our group on our home court and then walking on to the Final Four court for practice. Those are both very, very, I have very fond memories of both of those.
What do you love about this job?
I love everything about it. You're a part of a team every day. You have the community that we all search for. You have the relationships of people that are like you and chasing the same thing. And then you're on a college campus. And from 18 to 22, we all change so much. So there's so many things outside of just coaching the sport that make our jobs incredible. And when you hear a lot of your players talk about wanting to get into coaching, and your sons want to get into coaching, and it's a lot like thinking back on Coach Knight. It's like, if you can have that legacy where you have so much joy for what you do, where other people also want to do that, or you've had an impact on others and they want to have a similar impact, then it's very rewarding as a coach. But it's a lifestyle. It's 24/7. But it's also 24/7 of a lot of joy and memorable moments.
And why do you and your family love this area so much? For those who aren't here and know it as well.
Well, prior to this year, we loved it that we were anonymous, that we could just be Dusty and Anna and the boys and go about our day-to-day lives away from the job. Now it's changed, but we love the people here. We love the university, the community. The vibe in this area really fits us, and so we've fallen in love with basically everything that Boca in this area has to offer. Your
coaching philosophy, how would you describe it if you were to take us inside the locker room? I know that's such a broad question, right? But are there some key points that you, team after team, year after year, stick with? And, how do we see Coach Dusty May as a coach? What's important to you?
Our players' behaviors are the most important thing. Are they being great teammates? Do they work at the level that we need to work to do what we need to do? Those are the things that really jump out, that are as important to me as anything. Each team changes. And even as a coach, I'm trying to evolve every year and change and adjust and be better. But those are the things, that the environment that you create. Are we modeling leadership the right way? Are the guys following these unwritten rules that you don't have to talk about? And then you have something real when guys are falling in line to the way things are done, to what they see. And that's been the coolest part, to see our program get to the point where the younger guys can simply follow the older guys.
In terms of fatherhood, what I was going to say, how do you balance it all? I always ask that, and then some say, well, there is no balance. It's just where you are in that moment. How have you kind of looked at that in your day?
I think we've talked about this before, that work-life balance if you're very, very driven, I don't know if you ever have it, because when you're at work, you feel like you need to be at home, and when you're home, you feel like you need to be at work. And I know it's not healthy, but there are a lot of things that we all wish we could change about the way we think or do things. But our boys, thankfully, Anna has allowed them to always have irregular schedules and calendars and to fit it around what I did. And they would go recruiting with me. They would be at camp. They would be in my office. And fortunately, I worked for great head coaches that encouraged us to have our kids around. It's good for everyone. It's good for our players. It's just good to have kids around. They bring great energy. And so they've always just been a part of it. And even now with them playing in college, it's something that we can all share together. And it's something that we have to talk about. And we're each a part, we're all a part of each other's teams and lives.
What's your advice for other parents, other dads, other moms out there who maybe feel the overwhelm sometimes?
I don't know if I'm the right person to give advice on those things. Just try to do the absolute best job you can and develop a routine where you're giving them at least a good example and quality attention.
What's your message to the fans this year? How can we here in South Florida help you all?
Our fans have been amazing. We've sold out the season tickets. Just continue to support our guys and appreciate the way they play, interact, and represent this community, because it's these guys. I don't take it for granted. I don't know if I'll ever have a team that was enjoyable to coach as we had last year. Hopefully this one will be, but you never know. And so just enjoy the fact that you have a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds sacrificing, giving for each other in search of something bigger than themselves.
How good does that sound? Sold out.
It's amazing.
Right?
I mean, the amount of energy we had in our building the last 5 to 10 games was incredible. It felt like we had created, and I say we, our administration, our university, our students, our marketing team, our staff have created an amazing home court environment, and we need to continue to play at a high level so we can make going to FAU games part of the local fabric of what you do.
We've seen your guys, your team, and what I love about it is it's the team often out and about in the community month after month, and really being involved, and the smiles on their faces, you see that rapport. Some of the events are, supported on team front, FAU front, and then we've got some of the NIL events too. How do you look at NIL right now? I mean, some would say, as we said, it can get complicated and have different layers to it. How do you look at it from a head coach perspective?
I'll agree with both of those comments. It is very complicated. I do think it's long overdue. Our players, for example, have done a lot for the university, their name, image, and likeness has value, so they should be able to capitalize on it. It's different everywhere. We're fortunate here that there are opportunities for our guys to capitalize on what they've been able to do and the marketability of who they are. And so I'm in full support of it. I think our guys have learned so many important lessons as just the side effects of it, of tax codes, of having an accountant, having a financial advisor, thinking long-term, delayed gratification of saving the money. So there's a lot that has been, very educational outside of just making money.
Is there something, that we can help with on the NIL front at this point in the game?
Absolutely. There's so many different ways to help local athletes, whether it's through social media, whether it's through appearances, whether, I think our guys have done probably, they'll do social media posts for openings. They'll do a lot of different things. They've been very, aggressive in marketing themselves and chasing opportunities. And I think it's great because in this area, there's a lot of businesses. There's a lot of people that want to help young people be successful in different avenues. So any help is appreciated. And like I said, we're very grateful for the local community.
Sometimes it's hard to keep up, I bet. For them, it's a no-brainer. For us, we've seen it kind of progress right through the years. When we were in college, there was buzz about it, and why not? And then now it's hard to keep up.
I saw on social media yesterday the roofclaim.com commercial with our guys, and they were telling me they went down and had an acting coach, had the makeup artist, and so they're learning a whole nother side of business, and it's helped them be more self-aware that they need to speak better in public. They need to have more confidence, but you get that through reps, and they've grown so much in those areas as well. So it's been really cool to see how they've expanded who they are as people.
You have a busy few weeks and months ahead. Are you excited?
Extremely excited, yeah. We're ready for it to be here.
Well, go Owls. How can we connect with you? What do you want to share with all of us?
X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it now, is probably the one we're on the most, Coach Dusty May. Also on Instagram. I phased off Facebook. I'm trying to phase off social media as a whole as we get into the season. But yeah, those are the easiest ways. But FAUsports.com, a lot of different ways to connect with our university and our team.
Well, go Owls.
Go Owls.
Coach Dusty May, thank you so much for your time, for your honesty, your stories, and we are ready to support you guys once again this season. So thanks so much. I'll put all those links on my website. That's paigekornblue.com. Paige with an I, Kornblue with a K. And appreciate you.
Thanks, Paige.
Thanks. Until next time, everybody, cheers and go Owls.
Go